Okay, it is Sunday Night Live. We are here. It's another Sunday. It's another beautiful sunny day. I know Ken just said that he's got rain over there in Canada, and yeah, we are. We're not quite as warm as I would like it, but we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I'm going to let's see. I don't think I'm missing a channel here. Let me get this and get us over on Facebook. I think I got us on all the channels. Okay, so come on in, and when you come in, make sure you are hitting that thumbs up button. I'm going to go ahead and just post us live over here on YouTube. So come on in, tell me where you're from. There we go. I'll edit all of this out when after the show. So let me go here and share this. Create post. We are live. Okay. And coming back to you. Okay. All right. So when you jump in here, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, please. And Kenny, where have you been? I feel like you don't love me anymore. Just saying. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, and then I'll know. It's good to see you here. I feel like you also have a different username. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe something different. We just need P squared in here to get all the OGs coming on in. So while we get loaded up here on people, I got all my gardening done this weekend. I got the whole garden put in, all the food put in last weekend. I got all the flowers in this weekend, went to my office, cleaned the whole front of my office. I spent 5 hours. It's not a huge area, which is crazy that it took me 5 hours to get it all cleaned up, weeded, planted flowers, added soil, had to mulch it, water, all the things. So that's done. That is done. And I feel, I feel I'm tired. Yeah, it's Sunday. So I'm here. So Kenny says, I already hit the thumbs up and no, my name isn't different. Okay. Well, I mean, I do have my pet name for you that I cannot say on the air here. So I just haven't been home at this time on Sunday for a long time now. Okay, well, I'm glad you're here. It's so nice to have you up and in the chat. So yes, that makes me happy. Actually, no, you didn't hit the thumbs up because I hit the thumbs up and there's only one thumbs up. So so you need to get in there. Love my pet name. Kenny's pet name rhymes with trucker. I'll just say that. There we go. Okay, so here we are. We are live today, and today is, I think it's number 6 on our top 7 health trends of 2026. It's taken us a little while to get through this, but you know, we're making it through. And we've done women's health. We've talked about GLP-1s and weight loss. We talked about using food as medicine. We did one whole segment where I talked about all the 7, did a total overall what's the word I'm thinking of, 30,000 foot view of all of the 7 trends. So, you know, feel free to go back into the channel and go ahead and catch up on those. I also, in the middle of that, I did stop and I did a whole segment on allergies, because as we got into, I think it was about April, I needed to make sure that I talked about allergies, how to survive allergy season so that you weren't overrunning yourself with Claritin and Zyrtec. That is not the answer. That you are not deficient in allergy medication. So make sure you go back and watch those if you are someone who just has to live on allergy meds because you just feel like you cannot survive the springtime. So it's really an immune system function. So I encourage you to go ahead and make sure that you are going back and watching that. So today we're going to talk about personalized healthcare, what it is, and why most people are choosing it. And this is not only a trend that I when I was doing my research, I came up with, but it's a trend I see in my office, which is really cool. And what's interesting is I'm going to give you some stats on the wellness industry. So the trend is more people are choosing personalized healthcare. So here's the definition of what does that mean is people are seeking out doctors who look at them more holistically, who can look at them from a root cause perspective, who can, you walk into the doctor and you say, everything looks normal on my labs. My regular doctor tells me that everything's fine. There's nothing wrong with me, but I still feel like complete shit. So this is a great show for those of you who are walking around looking for answers and you just can't find them because you don't know where to look, you don't know where to go. So this episode will go ahead and unveil that for you. So stay to the end. I've got some great techniques that you can utilize to make sure you're putting a lens on yourself, asking yourself the right questions so that then you can go into a doctor who does personalized medicine like myself, and you can give them the lowdown on everything. Now, I will say that people like me, I've been doing this for 28 years. I'm really good at interviewing people. So when you come in and you have something going on, most humans are really good at minimizing what they have going on. And that's important to know, because if you aren't good at interviewing the person sitting across from you, the patient, if you're not good at interviewing, you will not get them to open up about the things that ultimately led them to being in your office. So that is what I do, is I make sure I'm diving deep. I go into the Wayback Machine and I ask about your health history from 10, 20, 30, 50 years ago. I want to make sure, I want to know, what kind of trend are you coming into the office with? What kind of trend have you been walking around with? Because mainstream medicine puts you in a box. And if you don't fit inside of that box, they can't help you. And you're a piece and a part. I've said this multiple times before, that if you, even from a musculoskeletal perspective, orthopedists, they work on shoulders, or they work on elbows, or they specialize in wrists and hands, or you've got an ortho who only specializes in hips or knees or ankles or feet, podiatry. So it runs the gamut. You have a cardiologist. Cardiologists don't talk to you about your digestion. You have to go to your GI doctor about that. If you have a GI issue and you have reproductive issues, anything going on with menstrual cycles or erectile dysfunction or any of that, that's a gynecologist or a urologist. There are so many different specialties. And the problem is none of them can see outside of their scope. Now, they're really good within their specialty, but wouldn't it be great if they could see outside those four walls and you weren't just this tiny little piece, you weren't just a heart, or you weren't just a colon, or just a bladder. Your body works in synergy with every single system and organ, including your nervous system, which is why we come and see the chiropractor. So this is really about helping you understand that if you are going to doctors because you have stomach pain, or, like I say, reproductive issues, or knee pain, something, you've got to make sure that you are asking the right questions and seeking out the right specialists that are going to be able to help get you to the proper the proper health plan, and come up with something that's really customized just for you. So that is what I do in my office. I will also say that when you get here, if you are here on Dr. Paula Ruffin, jump on over to It's All About the Biology and make sure you give them a like. And then if you're on It's All About the Biology, jump on over to my channel, Dr. Paula Ruffin, and we're just want to cross promote and help support each other's channels. So Hi, Teal. Welcome in. The hair splitter specialist. I don't know what that is. Is that a hair? Somebody who does a haircut? I don't know. So let me give you some stats on the wellness industry and why this is a trend. Why people are going outside of mainstream medicine to get answers. So the global wellness economy reached $6.8 trillion in 2024, and that was up 7.9%, so almost 8% from 23 to 24. I mean, crazy, 8% in just a year. And that was double since 2013. Now, since COVID, that was a huge push for people to move into looking out for more wellness based, more curated type of care. People went through COVID and they're like, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to get sick. What do I do? This is crazy town out there. How can I keep myself as healthy as possible? And so COVID was actually a turning point for a lot of people and how they took care of themselves. They started exercising, they started eating properly, they started cooking, they started baking sourdough. That was the birth of this whole new sourdough movement. So it's really COVID really pushed us into the wellness industry. So the wellness economy in the United States reached $2.1 trillion in 2024, and the average person spends about $6,000 per year per person. So that is everything from your gym membership to supplements to maybe massage therapy, other lifestyle-based things. Maybe you go to the chiropractor, red light therapy, saunas, I think I already said massage therapy, nutritional support, any other wellness therapies, whether you are doing IV nutrition. There's so many different things that people spend money on. So if you looked at what all you spent money on, the average person would spend $6,000 out of pocket. So people they've made this revelation that they have to go from feeling to function. Now, this is right up chiropractic's alley. This is where we've been since 1895. Welcome in, Lily. How are you? So chiropractic has always been about function versus feeling. And then Dr. Eric and I broke down on chiropractic is sexy, I think last week or the week before, and we talked about how chiropractic evolved into this neck and back pain model because that's how chiropractors were able to start getting paid by insurance companies. And so in order to get reimbursed from insurance, they had to then be able to have a diagnosis. It had to be explainable. They had to have certain things that they would only cover and get paid for. So that's how chiropractic ended up being a neck and back pain model. But that is many people still like that is so entrenched in our world and our society. And I encourage you to go back and watch the episode that Dr. Eric and I had done on chiropractic is sexy, because we talked about the evolution as that. Like chiropractors used to go to jail for practicing chiropractic because the AMA wanted to shut us down. And I think it was Dr. Chester Wilk, he sued the AMA, and I believe it was in the 1990s something. Lily was really great about putting all this information in the chat when we had that episode. But he sued the AMA, and he won. He won. So we won at that point. But at that point, we'd already become this neck and back pain model. So chiropractic is really about helping the nervous system function better, which we're going to get into a little bit later in the show. So let's keep moving on. Typically what happens in the mainstream model, and of course, we always have to say there's a place for medicine. If you have an emergency, that's where you want to be. I'm talking about if you just want to be healthy, that the regular medicine does not have answers for you. They don't know how to help you be healthy. If you just go into your medical doctor and you say, I just want to be healthier, and you don't have a symptom or you don't have anything for them to treat, they have no idea what to do with you. They have no knowledge of nutrition. They don't believe supplementation is a thing. Many doctors will tell you that eating healthy has nothing to do with your health in general. I mean, it's crazy some of the things that my patients will tell me when they come in that about what their regular medical doctors have actually told them with regards to good health. So, by all means, if you get sick in a way that warrants you needing to go to the doctor, and I'm not talking about you get a sniffle and you're like, oh, I don't want it to turn into anything. And then you run to the doctor and you get a Z-Pack, which is all steroids, and you get antibiotics and you get all the things on deck just in case. You have got to recognize the damage, the long-term damage that is doing to your health. And if you're somebody who does get sick like that, and you always run to your medical doctor just in case and get drugs, I promise you, you need to be watching this, and I hope you're watching it, and you need to stay to the end, because that is not the answer. And again, we talked about this in another episode of Chiropractic is Sexy, of what does that mean? Start asking better questions for yourself, and I'm going to give you a bunch of questions to ask yourself later on in the episode here. So Lily says, I've learned so much about chiropractic since listening to Dr. Paula and Dr. Erica, and we appreciate your support for all the shows. So thank you so much, Lily. So here's what happens when you go to your primary care physician, traditional medicine. You get rushed, you get dismissed, you're given medications that may or may not work. And I'm going to give you some examples of this. They don't ask deeper questions. They don't listen. You try to ask a question, but they don't listen. And you might not be sick enough to qualify for help. That's why I said, if you're healthy and you walk in to your primary care physician, they're gonna be like, what is this person doing here? So typically also in medicine, you are paying more for less time. Doctors don't have time to spend with you, and there is a reason for that. So I'm going to come back to insurance. Okay, so what's happening with medical doctors is so patients are feeling dismissed. They're feeling like they're not heard. Doctors are being squeezed. And this was a really interesting statistic that the physicians in private practice fell from 60% in 2012 to 42% in 2024, and hospital-owned practices increased. So what that means is that physicians have been bought out by the hospitals, by corporate entities, and corporate entities run, whether it's an urgent care or a family practice. You're seeing this a lot in dentistry. You're seeing it in veterinary medicine. A lot of corporations are buying up these smaller practices. And so when that happens, you are governed by what the corporation says. And they are all about numbers. They are not about patient care. And if you've ever experienced that, I would like to know. Go ahead and leave that in the comments. So, doctors in general aren't necessarily leaving insurance, but the insurance company and these corporations are dictating that doctors do things on a particular timeline, because then also the insurance company is cutting reimbursement. So now doctors have to work at an even faster pace to be able to get the same revenue as dictated by the corporation. So medical doctors are being driven by the financials being dictated by the corporation. And this is not a slam on doctors. There are great doctors inside of that system, but they are working with a system that is putting such a squeeze on them, and it does compromise them in a way. And so if you do find a medical doctor or a primary care physician who is in their own private practice, who's able to spend time with you, then, that's a great gem. That's pretty much a unicorn these days. We don't find that very often. And then, of course, if you find a doctor inside the system that you really like, and like I say, there are great doctors working inside the system and figuring out how to navigate through that system. But you've got to, make sure that you have you're aware of who's doing what, who's asking questions. Are you feeling well cared for? I have so many patients. They're just like, their doctors are just super dismissive and they keep going back. This is a relationship. And why would you stay in an abusive relationship? Why would you stay with somebody who is neglectful, who doesn't care about your thoughts and your feelings? That is the relationship you have with many of your primary care physicians. And that's not okay. There are plenty of great doctors who are happy to take on your case. Okay. So now I'm going to go back up to the top. Okay. So the growth of the wellness industry, this isn't a trend. We have been seeing these numbers go up for many years now. And so it's really a signal. It's signaling to people like me who are in actual health and wellness care, that people are searching for answers. They really want something that is going to help them get to the root cause. And oftentimes people don't understand what root cause care means. And I'll explain that to you here. So root cause care means that if you come to me and you have, let's say you have neck pain, I'm going to ask you about things like numbness and tingling in your arms. I'm going to ask you, do you get headaches, tension? Then I'm going to ask you things like, what's your everyday stress like? What's life at home like? Rate your stress on a scale of 1 to 10. How well do you sleep? Do you exercise? Do you stay hydrated? Are you eating healthy? This is what personalized care actually does, is you come in with a thing. Now, if we just say, okay, in the medical model, you go in with neck pain and the doctor says, okay, let's take an x-ray. You probably have a pinched nerve or a bulging disc. Okay, great. Here's some muscle relaxers and here's a steroid pack to bring the inflammation down. Now, listen, I have had 2 new patients come to me in the past week that is exactly what happened with both of them. They had neck pain, and one of them has had this pain going on since January. She got steroids and she got a muscle relaxer. And she's like, I just know that there's something else going on. It's been going on for 5 months. And I'm like, you're right. There is something else going on. I don't know what it is yet, but we're going to find out. And a steroid pack and an antibiotic is not going to resolve this for you. So let's get to the root cause. So that's what that means. Getting to the root cause means that we make sure we're taking a look at all the different things that could have contributed to this. That also means that when you're that person who wakes up in the morning with a pinched nerve and you go, I don't know what I did, I'm the person that's going to ask you about accidents, injuries, slip, trips, falls, anything, constant stress. You've been sitting at a desk for 20 years. What did you do 30 years ago? Were you involved in sports? Did you fall off a bike? Did you have a sledding accident? There are so many things that we do in our world as we life through life that add up and create scar tissue and imbalance in our nervous systems that then lead us to a place of, I just had neck pain or I have back pain. I'm going to go to the chiropractor, and then I'm going to share all I know about chiropractic and nervous system dysregulation with you and how that can improve your health. But the bottom line is that people are like, they're not accepting that these treatments from the mainstream doctor that's not acceptable to them. They really want to do so. They know that is not going to correct it. They absolutely know that. But most people just don't know where to go, who to talk to, and what questions to ask. So let's keep going. We're going to talk about that. I'll get you that in the end. So let me answer a couple questions. Tio Mimo says, vitamin C rich plants and elderberries would do better than that. I agree. Anything anti-inflammatory like that. You are a test subject and you're just a source of income that has to be turned over quickly for more revenue. Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's not necessarily the fault of the doctors. They are just being told what they need to do to keep their jobs, which is so sad because it's about human health. You'll find out as a corporate monopoly that is vertically integrated to maximize control and profits. Yep. Board of directors always gets paid. Yep. So, banks and insurance companies own the whole medical field from top to bottom. Ignorance and false expectations control the perspective of the clients, making them just consumers being given one-size-fits-all solutions and harmful chemicals disguised as medicine. That's a great comment. Thank you for that one. Yeah, they're given one-size-fits-all solutions, which is why they're getting tired of it. People are starting to awaken to the fact that there is more out there for them. Okay, super dehydrated. I don't think I drank enough water yesterday. I was out in the heat. The sun was beating on me when I was working at the office. And then I did a hot yoga class today. So I'm trying to get my hydration in. All right. So here's the reality of it is that people have to now start paying out of pocket for wellness services. Now, things like massage therapy, red light therapy, IV nutrition, the health club, your healthy foods, your supplements, that's always out of pocket. That is, we're used to those kinds of things. But people often come to the chiropractor and they want to know, does chiropractic cover my insurance? Or they want to come for functional medicine. They want to get labs done. They want to get nutritional counseling. And oftentimes that's not covered. So as for a chiropractor, insurance companies have done a very similar thing to us that they've done to mainstream medicine, where they have reduced our reimbursement. There are some insurance companies that only reimburse at $36 period. And the patient has a $30 copay. So $36.72 is the max they'll pay. So the patient has a $30 copay, and then I have to bill that. So I have to take the time to bill that to the insurance company to get the additional $6.72. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. It's not worth my time. I pay $40 a month to have a clearinghouse to send billing through. And I'm going to collect $6.72. Like, you guys, it makes no sense anymore. So you're going to see a lot of chiropractors have gone out of network. A lot of your medical doctors are now going out of network as well, because they want to be able to spend more time with you. They want to be able to ask better questions, and they want to be able to care for you at a higher level. So that is the sad truth about that. So your health insurance, here's the truth about your health insurance. So we already pay a lot for health insurance. The cost for health insurance keeps going up. And so this is an employer-sponsored insurance. The percentage of covered workers with an annual deductible increased from 81% in 2015 to 88% in 2025. And for workers with a deductible, the average single deductible increased from $1,320 in 2015 to $1,886 in 2025. I've actually seen it go higher in the years I've been in practice. I've seen it go from a $500 deductible to like $5,000, $10,000 deductibles. So this was the closest thing I could find to deductible information, but I was like, it's gone up significantly. The average annual premium for an employer-sponsored family coverage was close to $27,000, where workers had to contribute an average of almost $7,000 towards that premium. So your insurance isn't as good as it used to be. And the other problem with that is that you've got, if there's people who are on medications, is your medication costs have gone up. So, I have some patients who are paying well over $1,000 a month just for medication. So now ask yourself, do I need all this medication? can my doctor help get me off of it? How do I become healthier again? Because I promise you, all those medications are they are depleting your nutritional sufficiency. So people who are on medications, they're more challenging to work with because I have to now look at all the deficiencies created by all the medications that you're on. So that's where when I like to work with people, I like to work with their primary care physician, stay in close contact with their PCP, help them nutritionally. So I will help do gut repair so that they have better ability to break down and heal and absorb their gut, absorb their nutrients, and then work with their primary care physician to see what can we get them off of. Obviously, that's not my place to say they can stop taking medication. Their doctors have to be able to approve that. But if their doctors have some information, oftentimes they're like, "Oh, this is good. Okay, she's got you in a good direction, so we'll keep going on that." So just think about, your insurance card, your insurance policy is not a wellness plan. They do not cover wellness. Now you might say, "Oh, but they cover my mammogram, and they cover my pap smear, and they cover my colonoscopy. Isn't that wellness care?" Let's break that down a minute. So having a tube shoved up your butt once a year or every 5 years, whatever they say, only to tell you everything's fine. We'll just assume that everything's fine. That's not prevention, you guys. That's just going and looking and making sure you're not sick. They don't help you beyond that. They don't then say, "Oh, you should be having more fiber." And so many people, they have colonoscopies and they have polyps. That's inflammatory. That is, you're not getting enough fiber. You're not eating properly. You have a severe digestive issue. Like, polyps form because things aren't functioning properly. But they'll just say, "Oh, we're just going to go in and take them out and you're fine." And then they give you nothing to actually do before the next colonoscopy or the next mammogram. Or so that is not, listen, if you go and get that stuff, I'm not telling you to stop doing it. That is your decision. That is not my personal health care of choice. That is not, I just understand it's not health care. It's it's looking for disease, period. It's looking for disease, and they give you nothing beyond that. Just don't confuse it with healthcare, because it is absolutely 100% not. So when we talk about your insurance, how useful is it? What does it cover? What doesn't it cover? So it doesn't cover, we need it for emergencies and surgeries and, certain illnesses, medications, hospital cares, crisis care. I had a patient the other day. He said he got a cold. He had the cold for 2 days, and his doctor told him he needed to go get a COVID test. And I was like, "Are we still doing that? What are we doing? Like, just, it's a cold. And you're a man. It's a man cold. We understand what men colds are, okay? We understand you're big babies. No offense, men. You guys know it too, though. Women will still go, like, move mountains and raise kids and do all of that stuff."
Okay, hold on, sweetheart. I love you, but
all right, what you got for me, Ken?
I just wanted to give you a hard time for that one, because I know the people in the chat are going, "Oh, come on." Yeah, we can be big babies. Okay, I admit it. Santa can be a big baby too. Okay.
And listen, I love all of you, right? I love you all. I think we just have to understand, like, we just know that. That's why the term is so lovingly called a man cold. Because, okay, all right. No disrespect to anybody. You all know that. All right. So we need it for all of those emergency things, crisis care. But it often won't cover nutrition coaching, your functional medicine visits, longer conversations. So, for example, if I have a patient, now I do what's called block scheduling in my office. So I between 10 and 11, in the morning, I'm only adjusting people. And I will tell all my new patients, if you need extra time, you need to let me know ahead of time so that I can schedule accordingly. And then I have to ask them a few questions, because extra time can mean, do they just need like 5 or 10 minutes to chat about something really quick? Or do they need like 20, 30 minutes, which then I would have to charge for an additional visit for whatever they need to talk about. And I would have to schedule it at a completely different time. So I'm happy to have longer conversations. And sometimes I don't need to charge for those. Sometimes I do. But I have the ability to have longer conversations with people. People want to be heard. They want their doctors to listen to them. They want to be able to say, yeah, this is going on and this is odd. What do you think it could be? So we as chiropractors have the ability to have longer conversations and make people feel heard. Any functional lab testing is typically not covered under your insurance. General lab work. So when I order a lab panel on somebody, I usually just send them to a lab that I use that's they don't bill insurance. And the reason for that is because they do these really expansive panels. It's literally like $1,500 worth of testing for between $200 and $300. It's so massive and it's so cheap comparatively speaking. If I give that information, and I have it in a printout and I've given it to multiple patients and I've said, just take this to your doctor, tell your doctor I want them to run all of these labs. They won't. And you know why? Do you want to know why? Anybody want to guess why they won't run the labs? Anyone? Because insurance won't pay for it. And that's where I'm like, I am not handcuffed by that. And also, if your medical doctor runs a lab and they only cover part of the lab and they order some of these tests that I'm talking about, because it did run through insurance, and then insurance is like, yeah, we don't cover that, it's going to cost you hundreds of dollars just for a few additional factors. So it's not worth it. It's like, pay the $200, get the expansive panel, and let's get the information that you need. The other thing is this root cause investigation, which I talked about a little bit earlier, about just really diving deep into what your history is. Again, I have time for longer conversations. We also do body composition testing in our office. That's key, because I need to look at fat to muscle ratio. I need to look at your fluid intake. Are your cells healthy? How inflamed are you? And then any general wellness coaching is, how are you doing? Like, do we need to put a food plan together? What food plan do you need? Are you allergic to anything? Do we want to do a gluten-free, a dairy-free? Do we want to do anti-inflammatory? Are we detoxing? This is very personalized. And this is the only way to get that, is to work with somebody who works in personalized medicine, who understands how to make sure the plan is curated exactly for you and your needs, and then your goals. And then, of course, stress and nervous system support and chiropractic care to correct those long-term patterns. The long-term patterns of stress, they get stuck. They get stuck in your tissues. They get stuck in your brain. They get stuck in your nervous system. So, chiropractic really helps to release so much of that. And insurance will cover chiropractic to a degree. And I'll talk about this. I'll talk about this here. I didn't build this in, but I think this is a good segue. Is that, well, first of all, Medicare, I'm going to talk about chiropractic covering, insurance covering chiropractic. But for Medicare, the only time Medicare will cover any nutrition for your, any nutritional therapy at all for your health, is they have, you have to have diabetes, kidney disease, or a kidney transplant within the last 36 months. Otherwise they won't pay for nutrition testing. So they don't do the one thing to talk to you about nutrition that is going to actually help prevent diabetes, prevent kidney disease, and help keep you off the kidney transplant list. They don't cover it. But you get those diseases and they're happy to pay for it. Like, it's ridiculous. Let's get you before you get to that point. Let's make sure that you are in the right place with your health and wellness. Now, as far as insurance covering chiropractic care, the way that it works is that your insurance only pays for what's called acute care. So that means if you slip, trip, fall, accident, injury, that doesn't mean I woke up and I had pain. That's chronic. They don't cover chronic. But here's what your insurance company doesn't tell you. Acute care, they'll pay for 2 to 3 visits. How do I know this? Is because I've spoken to the auditing arm of Blue Cross Blue Shield. 2 to 3 visits. That's it for acute care. Anything over that is considered chronic or maintenance, and they don't cover that. Now, most chiropractors will continue, if you have 24 visits, they're going to bill out all 24 visits for you. Obviously, if you come for all 24 visits. And then from there, within 5 years, so the insurance can come back and audit you for 5 years, and they can go back 5 years. And so now if they go back and they audit you for patient A and they say, oh, you saw this person beyond 3 visits, we want all our money back. They take all your money back. It can be 4.5 years later that you saw the patient. They can take all their money back. So when I talk about, the risk of taking insurance is far greater than the risk of not taking insurance. It takes a while to get people to understand these differences and that we can't take care of you. People didn't like that I was having to tell you, I'm only going to bill 3 visits. I know you have 24. I know, but I have 24. I know, but I can only bill 3. But I called them and they said, I know you called them and I know what they told you. That's not how it works in the auditing world. So this is a very delicate dance, because then they leave me and they go down to the chiropractor down the street who's going to bill them for the 24 visits. And then now there's a target on that person's back. So I stopped practicing within that model a little while ago because it was too risky, far too risky. Imagine you work at your company and your company at any point in time can come back and go, you know what? We don't think you worked hard enough. We're going to take our money back. That's what it's about. So I know I change lives in my office, and I don't think I should have to give the money back. So there's that. Okay. All right. So let's see. Where did Tio? I think I had that one. Insurance is a control mechanism used against both patient and doctors. I think I just explained that. So way to wrap that up for me. Thank you. Colonoscopies cause serious injuries or issues when they cause injury. I cannot tell you how many patients I've had in my 28 years of practice who went in for routine colonoscopy and got their colon punctured. And then we're in the hospital, almost friggin' died. Like, it's crazy town. Lily says there's some tests you shouldn't have. Those you should have in your senior years. And that, again, that's a very personal, those are very personal. Like, figure out, is it right for you to have those? I know, LOL. I know everybody's like, really? The doctor must be getting kicked back. Yeah, sure. Probably. They did during that time. So true. Big. Oh, Ken, see, Lily's even calling you a big baby.
We've been together over 30 years. She knows I'm a big baby. When I'm in pain, oh yeah. Yeah, you're damn right.
Self-admitted. Cheers to you. Yeah, they don't care about nutrition until it's too late. Well, the other problem is that you have to be so sick that you have to have a diagnosis. Medical does not work on anything other than diagnoses. And this is why they can't help people from a root cause perspective. So the diagnosis is you come in and you have a cluster of symptoms, and they fit into this diagnosis. Now, if you have random symptoms, then they're going to give it a weird name, like fibromyalgia. Fibromyalgia is like, general body pain with tender points throughout the body. Like, it's a weird diagnosis. It's they give these very general diagnoses in order to be able to give medication around those symptoms. So that's typically how our system works. Now, when I do labs on people, I get these labs back and they have the lab ranges. Those lab ranges are wide enough so that, again, if you fall outside of those lab ranges, now you're in the clinically sick range. But I tighten them up. Functional medicine works in a very unique way because we tighten them up. So now we see you in the subclinical phase. We see you before you get clinically sick. It's so much easier to turn the ship around at that point. And again, I think that's why people are seeking out more curated, more customized, personalized care. Proactive versus reactive. Thank you, Lily. Again, everybody's summarizing everything so well. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Yes, but the ounce of prevention is free and the pound of cure is worth its weight in gold. There you go. They don't want you healthy. They want consumers for their system of sick care. Absolutely. Yep. Which is why they're also trying to put the kibosh on supplements. They've been trying to get supplements banned because they can't monetize them. If you are healthy because you take a supplement, that takes money out of their pocket, right? So, yeah. They also changed the names of diseases. Polio became Bell's palsy and Epstein-Barr. Yes. Yeah, that's a whole nother show, isn't it? Okay. So, we talked about doctors inside the system. So some of the questions that I ask, and these are questions, you can write this down. These are questions that I ask, but you can then reframe them to things that you can share as a patient with your doctor. But basically I ask you, what brought you in? And then let's say it's, I'll use a recent case of a patient who, she said, I feel completely broken. I feel hopeless. She's postmenopausal. She is exhausted. She's can't think clearly. She's not sleeping well. She's the poster child of a menopausal woman who's been dismissed by healthcare. Doctors can't find anything wrong with her. Her labs look normal, according to her primary care physician. And so I dive in. How long has this been going on? Turns out she's been feeling like that for a few years now. And then I started asking about her gut, because if you've heard me say this before, it's a gut problem until proven otherwise. And so I started asking her about her gut health. Well, guess what, you guys? She's been on acid blockers for 20 years. You know what that does to the human body? It shuts down your stomach acid. I know, duh, but it shuts down your body's ability to absorb calcium, to absorb your B vitamins, to absorb your minerals, which are all critical for brain and nervous system, which are critical for muscle function, which are critical to help your body relax, which is critical for stress. So she said that, and I was like, ding, 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 ding. But no doctor's been able to share that with her. No doctor was able to tell that to her until she came to me. So I do what I do. I put together, a nice plan for her. And she's been through, a number of doctors, and it's the piece and the part. And she had something else going on too that I can't quite remember, but it was relatively significant in this story. I wish I could remember. Don't worry, it's written down. I remember if I have to talk to her. But so I put this whole write-up, much so that, I spend time after I talk to somebody, because I go through it. Then I'm like, okay, let me pull all the pieces together. Let's put it into a nice big package, come up with a plan of action, a curated form of care for this person to help them start feeling better, to help them, get their vibrancy back and optimize their health, and achieve their goals. And so she replied back to me and she said, wow, this is a lot. And I said, I know it's a lot because it's not what you're used to. What tends to happen is you go in and you have a symptom and you're given a drug. So that's not a lot. Just gonna give you a little drug. But I said, we need to get you exercising. You have to be drinking more water. We have to fix your sleep. And here's how we're going to do it. Here's the food plan that I want you to follow. And of course, I know it is a lot. So I always tell people we'll take it in baby steps, but this is where we're going to start. This is how we're going to lay it out. So I lay out this plan because people need to understand it is a lot. It's a lot because you've been doing a little. You've been doing too little. You've been given too little. You haven't been given a fair opportunity to get your health back in order. So it's a lot. So if you want to feel better, you have to understand it's going to be very unique and different from what you've always been doing. So, looking at who are you, what's changed, going back into your history. And like I said, she went back 20 years. She's been on these things. How are you sleeping? What's your diet like? Do you drink too much? Do you move well? What's your digestion like? What is your nervous system like? I asked her about stress. And I said, do you feel like every day you're being chased by a tiger? And she goes, I don't think there's been a day in the last 30 years I haven't felt like that. Yeah. Crazy town. I asked her about her libido. I said, do you have any sex drive? She's like, yeah, I lost that years ago. She's like, I'd love to get that back. You can't, when you're being chased by a tiger, do you think your body is going to feel like having sex? Like you're going to have no libido. So this is a stress issue. So again, we have to look at things from a very unique perspective in order to get you back into a healing state. So the quality of the questions really matters when you are talking with somebody who does root cause care. And so, when you are constantly being told everything's normal, when you have issues, but you can't get answers, when things come and go and there's never a resolution, or if you're continually taking an over-the-counter medication or even a prescription medication. Dr. Eric and I also talked about, taking Claritin and taking Advil and taking Tylenol. I think that was last week's episode, and how this 55-year-old woman found out she had like stage 2 kidney disease from taking Advil every day because she would get headaches, and she didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Instead of asking, why do I have headaches every day? She would just take an Advil, and now her kidneys are shutting down. So it's, against you guys, we got to start asking ourselves, like, what? So she would be somebody, she absolutely has a gut issue, because you can't take that kind of medication and not have it have some kind of digestive impact. Her kidneys need support. They need to get cleaned up because it's really hard on the kidneys, clearly. It's hard on the liver. It can create non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So those are all places that I would go. Does she have enough stomach acid? What's her diet like? How do we need to get her on an anti-inflammatory diet? So, these are things that I would dive into it, but she's not my patient. I don't even know the woman, but I'm just using that as an example. So adding in chiropractic care as part of this curated piece, this is also where we can eat super healthy. We can start to get proper rest. But if this nervous system is still completely dysregulated, the only thing that's going to really get you back on track and get that communication from the brain to the body optimized is through chiropractic care. And so once you do that, if there's a digestive issue, but the stomach, the intestines are only getting 50% of what the brain has to tell it, because there's misalignment in the spine, is putting stress on the nerves, and it's cutting down on the flow of energy from the brain. We've got to open that up. You want your stomach, your heart, your lungs, your liver, your intestines, like you want all of that to be having full communication from the brain to the body and the body to the brain. And that's how we open up. We improve the neurological foundation, which will improve your sleep. It'll improve your ability to think clearly, improves your are you in your creative mind? Are you working mostly in your frontal lobe, or are you living in your primal part of your brains that are like just stressed, like you're running from that tiger? So we have to get you out of that. And so we work with chiropractic and then the nutrition, then getting you moving, and maybe sending you to the gym, getting you to a personal trainer, making sure you're drinking enough water, looking at your food, your overall dietary intake. Do you have food sensitivities? Is there something that you're eating that your body doesn't like that we need to eliminate? Most of the time, I get my patients off of gluten and dairy initially, and they start to feel so much better. That's a big one. So here's 5 different lenses that we can look at for structured, personalized healthcare, for something curated specifically to you. And this is too where you can write this down. So these would be like the 5 lenses that we'll look through. And this is just a great baseline that I think any doctor should be utilizing. So we'll look at structure. Just talked about that from a chiropractic perspective. How's your body moving? Are your joints restricted? Are your muscles guarded? Is one side tighter and more tense? Does your posture cause you pain? Are you constantly slumped over? How's your digestion? Do you have energy? Do you have headaches? Are there any old injuries that created new compensation patterns? And here's my favorite. How do you walk? Looking at how you walk is key. I watch all of my patients walk. I can't tell you. So even people who have duck walk, those people have their feet are externally rotated. That is because they have tightness in the hips that's pulled their foot around, and then they duck walk and they can't lift their foot up high enough. And that creates a weird gait pattern, which then stops their hips from moving, which then stops their spine from rotating, which then causes more stiffness and tension in the hips and in the lower back. And now suddenly then they end up with lower back pain. So it is so wildly connected when you look at how people walk. I've got a bunch of really great videos on my YouTube channel about gait and how people walk. So go watch those. Number 2 is your nervous system. Are you living in fight or flight? Are you being chased by that saber-toothed tiger? But if I ask you, are you living in fight or flight? And you might say, no, I'm not under stress. Kenny likes to always say he's not under stress. I always call bullshit on that, but that's okay. I love him. He knows I love him. So are you even aware that you're in fight or flight? And this is a lot of our neuroprotection is we're not even aware that we're being chased by the tiger. So we gotta create the awareness. We gotta go, geez, yeah. Because that lack of awareness is why you're not sleeping properly. It's why you can't think clearly, why you can't sit down and write, why you can't create, why you just feel like you're constantly going and you're stressed out. So can your body downshift from this fight or flight into rest, digest, and repair? When you get adjusted, that moves you into the parasympathetic state, the rest, digest, and repair. And then we give you tools and things to do at home. Again, I've done a bunch of videos on vagal tone and nervous system regulation. Do you feel safe in your own body? Your nervous system, when it doesn't feel safe, when it is constantly being chased by that tiger, it doesn't feel safe. It's not going to heal. It's going to prioritize safety over healing in every situation. So people who get sick all the time, your body doesn't feel safe. It's not healing. It's not keeping you healthy. It's prioritizing saving you over your immune function. Do you constantly clench, brace? Are you constantly rushing or reacting to things? Number 3, your chemistry. What are you eating? But more importantly, what are you absorbing? What nutrients are missing? What do you need? If you take over the counters, if you take prescription medications, do you know what nutrients are depleted by those? Are you overcompensating? Because many people will just take big box store brands of nutrients, and they are so insufficient in the nutrients that you actually need for a body that doesn't take medications, let alone a body that does take medications. You have to overcompensate for that. So it's not a one-to-one. What is inflamed and how is your body inflamed? What's your blood sugar doing? What are your hormones doing? And what is your gut doing? And most of us have some level of gut issue. So we need to make sure we focus on that. Number 4, environment. What are you exposed to? Are you exposed to molds, chemicals? Are you exposed to poor lighting, poor air quality, too much screen time, too little sunlight, too little nature, too much noise? I had a friend of mine, I posted a video on my Facebook page, and she had, what was that? I forgot what the video was about. It was something about, I was doing a video in the morning. I was sitting outside. I go outside. I go outside. I like to sit outside. And I love to listen to the birds. And she had commented on the video, and she said, I used to go for walks in the park with my dogs, and I would put headphones on. And she said, I realized I was missing out on nature. And she said, once I took the headphones off and just started listening to the sounds of nature when I walked, she said, my nervous system felt so much more calm. So I really encourage you, when you go out for a walk or a run, get rid of the headphones. We don't need to listen to podcasts. I know it could be 30 minutes to an hour that we can be productive. You know what being productive is? Taking care of your nervous system, being one with nature, listening to the sounds of the outside world, just experiencing nothingness. That is really, really, really important to your nervous system and your overall health. And then number 5, what's your story? What's happened in your life? What stress are you carrying? What traumas? What grief? Are you a constant people pleaser? Are you under pressure? Do you have burnout? What is your story? What has your body survived? What kind of traumas did you experience as a child? Whether you think you know them or not, there's things you're like, oh yeah, I know that happened, or things you're like, I didn't really have anything bad happen to me. For me, my mom would always talk about how, we grew up poor, had everything we needed, right? But her stress was that we were always going to end up in the street. So I grew up with the fear of always thinking we were going to end up homeless. Like, that's a trauma, you guys. That's a serious trauma. So it happens to all of us. And so we have to recognize those things, and we have to make sure that when we are exhibiting behaviors that revolve around some of these traumas, that we are able to regulate our nervous systems so that they don't affect us the way adversely. So the bottom line is we need to ask better questions. So doctors need to be asking better questions. I ask great questions. If you are going to your primary care physician, you need to demand that your doctor asks better questions. If you're going to a PCP who doesn't have the time, then you need to find a different doctor. I mean, I hate to say it, but you need to. So, this is also, we're in a world of fine. We're in this fine trap. We're fine. We're good enough. Your labs are fine. Your scans are fine. Your weight is fine. Your sleep is fine. You're not fine. You're not fine. Nobody wants to be fine. Fine is just like mediocre. Like, who wants to be mediocre in this world? So let's just stop being fine. Like, let's start being absolutely amazing. Let's just like work with that. And if you can't get up every morning and say, wow, I'm amazing, then you need to start asking questions. Okay. All right. So here's my last 10 questions for you. You can write these down. I did not put these in the show notes. So you're just going to have to listen and take notes. But here's your personal health inventory. What are your top 3 symptoms? When did they begin? Literally, when was the very first time you ever remember anything? What this means, think about this. Again, let's use digestion. So let's say you have acid reflux or something. And I say, well, when was the very first time? You're like, oh, just whatever. This just started 3 months.
Okay, I don't know if you've got a problem. I lost your audio. You froze up.
Oh,
nope, there you go. There you go.
Thank you. I tapped the top of my microphone and forgot that the mute button's up there. All right. let's see. What are my top 3 symptoms? When did they begin? Okay, so going back in time, really like going back and thinking about how long ago did these symptoms begin? When was the very first time ever? Ever, even if it's like neck pain, when was the very first time you had tension? Did you have an accident, injury? Again, just sitting posture. What was happening in your life at the time? Was there trauma? Was there stress? Were you raising babies? Were you in a bad marriage? There's so much. What makes your symptoms better or worse? Always ask yourself, how is your sleep? And answering that with, oh, I've never been a good sleeper. That's not the answer. That's not a good answer. That's a terrible answer. So how is your sleep? Answer it. Do you fall asleep easily? Okay. Do you stay asleep, or are you a member of the 3 a.m. club? Your cortisol decides to just have a party at 3 a.m. Or can you not fall asleep? How's your digestion? And if you're like, well, it's fine as long as I take Prilosec. Nope. That's an answer, but you shouldn't be having to take Prilosec. Do you have a bowel movement every day? Like, that's a big freaking deal. So start asking yourself that. Do you feel bloated all the time? So really dive into your digestion. How's your stress level? Really get honest with yourself about your stress level. Are you able to bring it down a notch? Are you able to, de-stress and regulate your nervous system properly? How is your movement? Do you move well? Can you bend over, touch your toes? Can you squat down? Can you hang from a bar? Can you do just some of the basic movements and strength movements for longevity? And what have you actually normalized or minimized that's not normal? Again, I talked about this at the beginning of this, is we tend to minimize the things that we have going on. And that's fine. That's fine, right? We're fine. So what are you saying fine to that shouldn't be fine? So, okay. So those are your 10 questions to ask yourself. And this is really a way for you to stop walking around empty-handed. It's a way for you to demand better for yourself and demand more from your doctor or your care provider, and seeking out somebody who can help you make sure that they get you to a place where ultimately your health becomes optimized. And so that, my friends, is the tenets of having personalized healthcare, and why more people are choosing it, and why you should be choosing it too. Okay, that's all I have on my notes. Let's go ahead and read some comments here, some questions. Shows how they manipulate the medical system. I think we're going back in time there. Don't make Ken light a bale of hay on fire. Oh, goodness. Let's see. Hold on. I completely lost myself here. Hide current comment. Sorry, lost myself. Yeah, critical and analytical thinking is being replaced by standardized practice in all fields, it seems. Is it interesting that just doing normal functions cleanly and properly can help reset the human organism? Doing normal functions cleanly and properly can help reset the human organism. I think I want to say yes. That's interesting. I think I know what you're saying. You might have to clarify that for me. Yes, and self-regulated, self-repairing biological wonder. Yes, we are. Yeah, we are designed for self-healing and self-regulation. Look at Lily. I love her. Look what she just did for you guys. Screenshot that. Okay, so we talked about structure, digestion, mobility. 2, the nervous system. 3, chemistry, nutrients, hormones. 4, the environment. Tune into nature. And 5, what's your story, traumas? Lily, you're freaking awesome. Thank you. The right question gets you halfway to the right answer. I love that. Could probably get you further. Now the cough button works. Literally. Why didn't that work? Like, I have no idea. What are my top 3 systems when? What is happening all the time? What makes your systems better or worse? How is your digestion? How's your stress level? How's your movement mobility? Lily is so good. She's so good to you guys. What have you minimized and normalized? Yeah, we do it all the time. Thank you, Lily. I love you. I love that you just sit behind the scenes and do that for me. That's so awesome. So, okay, so that's personalized healthcare. I don't remember what next week's topic is, but it's number 7. Where we did top 7 trends, and next week will be number 7. So, let's see, what is it? I forgot. Anyway, we at this point, if you have any other questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments. And again, make sure you hit the thumbs up button if you didn't already. And if you're on Dr. Paula Ruffin, go to It's All About the Biology, and make sure you like that channel. And if you're over there, jump on over to my channel and like and subscribe over on my channel too. So, all right, you guys, I'm going to go shut it down for the night and get a little rest for the week. So I hope you all have an amazing week. We'll see you on Thursday for Chiropractic is Sexy. Talk to you soon.